What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. My name's Micah, and today we got ourselves an AR-10. But not just any AR-10, this is gonna be the SIG Sauer 716i Tread, and this baby is bad to the bone. So we're just gonna take a look at the features and specs of this rifle, kind of see what it's good for, see if I think you should buy it, and of course at the end of the video we'll go out and shoot it and see how it does. So, let's dive right in. And before we get too far along, I'll definitely show you that the rifle is unloaded here. So you can see that there is nothing in our chamber, everything is clear and safe, and of course our magazine is empty as well. So safety is first, guys, that's extremely important, and we always want to be on top of that. So as far as just the basic specs on this gun, you know, it comes with a 16-inch barrel. The overall length of the gun with the stock as far out as it can go is going to be 37 inches. The total weight of the rifle is going to be 8.5 pounds, and it has an overall width of about 2.5 inches. So as far as 30 caliber rifles go, you know, it's a fairly compact, maneuverable package. You know, I think it's gonna fill a lot of different roles for people very well. I got this rifle because I was kind of looking for something for like a DMR type platform. Now, if you're not familiar with what DMR stands for or means, it stands for Designated Marksman Rifle. So DMRs kind of bridge the gap between your shorter range rifles and your full-blown sniper rifles. DMRs are typically designed for uses between 300 and 800 yards. So that's a niche that I'm filling with this rifle. I think it does it very well. I've researched these meticulously and come to the conclusion that this is the best value AR-10 DMR you can buy in the store right now. So we'll just start walking around the rifle here, and I'll show you why I like it so much. Starting at the front of the rifle here, we're kind of gonna get a 3-prong SIG flash hider. So this doesn't really have any muzzle brake type properties. It's not there to reduce any recoil, anything like that. It's really just to hide those fireballs. The threading on this is going to be 5/8 by 24. So if you wanted to put other muzzle brakes on it, a suppressor, your options are fairly broad with that setup. Moving right down on the barrel right here, you can see maybe that it says it is chambered for 7.62 NATO, and that it has a 1 in 10 twist. Not all your 7.62 battle rifles and AR-10s are going to cycle and shoot your 308s. This one is absolutely rated to shoot, fire, eject all your different 308 cartridges. 308 is going to be the higher pressure round of those two. So not all your 7.62 by 51s are going to be built to handle the higher pressure of the 308 round. So we did see that it had a 1 in 10 twist on the barrel. So as far as 308s go, 1 in 10 twist is going to be one of the faster twists that you'll typically see for 308. So 1 in 10 twist is exceptional at stabilizing the heaviest 308 bullets. So up to your 200s, 220s, this will stabilize them absolutely just fine. Those bullets need to get spun a little bit faster in order to stabilize them to keep them accurate. And this setup is also going to stabilize bullets down to 110 grain. Now that's a very broad spectrum of 308 bullets to be able to stabilize, but it does that perfectly, and let me tell you why. With this rifle just having a 16-inch barrel as opposed to say a 24-inch barrel that we might find on say some bolt action 308, we're getting slightly less velocity out of this platform than we would a longer hunting rifle. So with us getting slightly less velocity out of this 16-inch barrel, suddenly those lighter grain bullets are not going to fly as fast, so the 1 in 10 twist is not twisting them as fast as they otherwise would have been twisted out of, say, a 24-inch barrel. So that's how we have such a broad spectrum of bullets that we can fire through this thing, down to about your 110 grains, up to 220. So that's very unique to see, but with this 16-inch barrel, with the 1 in 10 twist, that's how it's possible. One last thing that I'll say about the barrel on this gun is that there's plenty of people who will go out and put it in a gun vise on the range, and this rifle every single time will shoot sub-MOA groupings. So less than an inch groupings at 100 yards. With your 308 rifles, you're not gaining accuracy with a longer barrel, say a 24-inch barrel versus the 16, because those longer barrels are more subject to harmonics. Every time you fire a shot, that barrel is moving. So the longer barrels are more subject to those harmonics than the shorter barrel is. So that's how our 16-inch barrel is just as accurate as a 24-inch barrel. The only difference there is that we're getting a slightly lower velocity with the shorter barrel there. The more you know. As we move on down the rifle here, we come to this glorious, perfect Forend and Handguard. I love this thing from the factory. This has to be one of the best handguards that you can get. There is M-lock points all over it here. It has a full Picatinny rail that extends all the way back. It extends almost all the way to the front of the barrel. It's about an inch shy. So your room for accessories, your real estate on here is unmatched. You know, if you want just an AR-10 that from the factory you can bolt on every single goodie you can find, this is gonna be the one for you. It is a totally free-floated handguard, and then you have two bolts to take it off. One is on the right side there, the other one's going to be on the left side. So everything is very simple. This thing has a great feeling to it. It's gotta be one of the best handguards from the factory on an AR-10 of all time. As we move on down the rifle here, we come to a wonderful dust cover. So this is something that not all your AR-10s are gonna have, but they definitely all should. This is very desirable because it keeps all the dirt, grime, grease, and gunk out of your gun as you're trudging through the desert, the wilderness, the mountains, the swamp, wherever you may be. That dust cover will flick open on its own upon actuating the charging handle, or if we fire a shot. Then it's on you to close that back up and keep your gun clean, safe, and perfect. Just behind that, we have a ginormous shell deflector. So this thing does its job perfectly. You know, this gun spits out all of your shells in about the 3 o'clock position, and it will put one spent shell on top of another. It's kind of ridiculous. You'll probably see that when we go out to the range. As we keep moving back here, we do come to a forward assist. So this is a very nice feature. Not all your AR-10s will have it. It's just kind of a manual way to force your bolt all the way shut. If per se your bolt was not all the way back here, that it was not completely chambering around, say there was dirt, grime, grease, anything in there that was preventing that, you can manually push on this and it will force your bolt closed. So you can keep on shooting, chamber another round. That's just kind of a very good fail-safe method that we like to see. If you were out in a battleground type scenario and you didn't have time to clean your gun and you were firing it religiously, that's a nice thing to see. You'll definitely want that. As we move on down to our controls, pretty much everything here is going to be ambidextrous. So here we have our magazine release on the right side. It's pretty generous in size. You know, it's not just a little circle, a little oval like we typically see. It's kind of longer. There's plenty of room, great texture on it for your hand, your finger to get onto and actuate that. On the other side, you will see that there is another one. It's gonna be this switch right here. So it looks a little bit different than the one on the other side, just with the mechanics of this gun and how it works. So we love to see the ambi controls. And of course, the safety is going to be ambidextrous as well. So you can see that there's kind of just two positions here. Up is going to be in the fire position and sideways is going to be in the safe position. You don't have a safe and fire in words engraved there. You just kind of have a bullet in a box with a couple lines through it for safe, and then a bullet in a box that does not have any lines over it for the fire position. As we flip on over to the other side here, so our bolt release here and bolt lock is going to be the only thing that's not going to be ambidextrous on this gun. So you're only gonna find that on the left side, but it does work very well every time. You kind of have a nice texture on here. And then down on your bolt lock here, you get way more real estate on this thing than you would with all your other AR-15s, AR-10s. I don't know why more manufacturers don't do that. As far as the magazines go on this gun from the factory, you're just going to get one PMag 20-round magazine. So this will fit all of your 7.62 by 51s and 308 rounds perfectly. I picked up another one of these magazines here, these 20 rounders for 20 bucks, so not a bad deal here. You'll typically see these magazines. They're gonna be in 10 round, 20 round, 30 round, 40 round, 50, 70, 100, whatever you want, it's out there. I do like the size of the 20 round magazines in this. You know, they don't come out, they don't stick too far down below the gun. So if you have like a 40 rounder, it's gonna stick out way longer. So if you're shooting in the prone position, if you're on a table, that's probably gonna get in the way and affect the angle that you can have your rifle at. So I'm just rocking the 20 round magazines on this. Obviously, whatever you want is gonna be out there for you. As far as the trigger goes on this gun, it is one of the best feeling triggers I have ever felt on an AR-10 DMR type setup. So right from the factory, the trigger sits at about 7 pounds. so it's gonna be a little bit stiffer than some of your other rifles, but it has a great feeling to it. You know, I prefer that stronger trigger as opposed to something too light that you breathe on it and it goes off. So as we're kind of actuating the trigger here, from the factory, the gun is cocked here. There is no take-up. Just right off the bat, you are firm against the wall. So it will be on you to just apply that 7 pounds to the trigger, and it doesn't move back, it doesn't move back, it just breaks. So great feeling to the trigger, guys. Yeah, there is just no take-up, no nothing. You just push that 7 pounds and it goes off. It is such a good feeling. It's so smooth, it's so crisp. It is very perfect for this gun. As far as the factory grip goes, you know, it's a lot nicer than some of these basic grips that you find on your AR-15s, AR-10s. So it is a SIG Sauer grip that they have made for this gun. It has a wonderful texture on the rear here. You get that same texture on the front. It's great for hanging on to. It feels really good against your hand. It's not too aggressive. And then you kind of get more of like a sandpaper type texture on the sides of it there. So love this grip. You kind of get this tail on it that extends up there. So it feels great against the web of your hand there. I have no complaints with this grip. It's definitely going to stay on this rifle for me. And then actually on the bottom of the grip here, we do have a little compartment. You can press these 2 tabs that are on either side, and then it will kind of come out of there. So we've got a little spot that we could put a couple extra bullets, maybe a couple tissues, why not a few gummy worms. Now as far as your charging handle goes on this, it's just gonna kind of be a standard run-of-the-mill charging handle. You know, there's a million charging handles out there. Depending on what you want, just go get one, switch it out. That's one of the things that literally takes 3 seconds to switch out. So just kind of a run-of-the-mill charging handle, but it definitely works perfect every time. I will say that the little release switch there is just going to be on the left side. Another very cool thing that this rifle just has from the factory right out of the box is 2 quick detach points that are built into the frame there. So that is so awesome to see. Why don't more people do that? It gives you a spot that you can just instantly throw on a quick detach sling. You know, if you want to carry your rifle kind of in front of you, like I like to do, just keeps me in control of my rifle. And then typically, you know, with one hand, I can just bring my rifle up. I'm right in my shooting position. All I have to do is bring a hand and put it on the trigger. So I love carrying my rifle like that in front of me there. So having the quick detach points there lets me put a sling on it and carry the rifle exactly how I want to right out of the box.
Good friggin' job, Sig.
As far as the stock that we get from the factory on this gun, it is going to come with the Magpul Slk Buttstock. So this is a very good quality buttstock. It has a wonderful feeling to it. You know, it has this easily actuated lever that you will find on both sides of it right there. Everything about this feels so good. It has your classic 6 positions. That's the furthest out. This is going to be the furthest in, and then you have several different points in there where you can set it to. You do get kind of a nice texture on the rear end. This is kind of like a firmer rubber pad that it has on it, so love the texture. It keeps it against your shoulder very well, and that slight rubberized part on the end is going to soften the recoil just a little bit. Wouldn't mind if that was just a little bit longer, but from the factory to see a buttstock like that, love it. So that's kind of the gun in a nutshell. You know, I'm not gonna pull everything apart and go over what grade of aluminum and steel every different part is. Everything on this gun has been proved to be extremely reliable. I mean, go look up reviews on this. It has an excellent track record. Nobody seems to be able to kill these things. And like I was saying, the accuracy is spot on. With the barrel having that 1 in 10 twist, you know, if you want to shoot heavy bullets out to 1,000 yards, this is the perfect platform to do that. You know, there's plenty of people that are being dead accurate with this gun out to sniper rifle type distances. You know, I was saying kind of at the start of the video, this is gonna kind of be my DMR type rifle. You know, I'm gonna use it to reach out a little bit further than I could with, say, my AR-15 or something like that. So kind of my plans for this is just to put a scope on here. I'm just gonna go with a classic Vortex 3x9, I think. You know, typically for distance shooting, they say the minimum magnification you need is 1 magnification for every 100 yards. So a 3x9 should be perfect for about 3 to out to 900 yards shooting. I don't know if I'm gonna be stretching its legs that far out, but around the 3 to 600, my 3x9 scope will be perfect. And there is so much real estate on this forend here and on the Picatinny rail that extends the entire way that I'm gonna do some iron sights that are gonna be slightly offset here, that I can see them around my scope with a slight turn of the rifle to 45 degrees. So I'll have my scope for my distance shooting, and then if I need to make a shot close range, I will just turn the rifle like this. Suddenly I will find my iron sights. So that'll kind of be the most practical application for me. So that's my plan with it here. Obviously from the factory, you don't get any sights. You know, they don't really know what everybody's application for this is going to be. Some people use it as more of a short range rifle with just a stronger punch than say a 223 or 5.56. And then some people go the opposite route of totally using this as a long distance sniper type rifle. It is more than capable of filling both of those roles and absolutely everything in between, guys. As far as pricing on these things go, you know, I'm typically seeing them from between $13 to about $1,500. I was able to snag this guy for $1,200 because it was a demo gun for SIG at one of their events. Nobody ended up shooting it except for one guy who put 5 shots through it, so I got a SIG 716i tread that had 5 shots through it for $1,200.
Sweet.
You know, as far as pricing on all your other AR-10s go, they're just going to be more than say your AR-15s. You know, everything's just built a little bit more heavy duty. You know, it has to be 2-chamber those 7.62x51s and 308s, and to shoot them well, everything just has to be built up a little bit more. So your price for an AR-10 is going to be more than an AR-15. That's just kind of across the board. As far as this relative to everything else, you know, as far as just a basic AR-10, this SIG blows everything else out of the water. And I hate to say that because I don't necessarily endorse all SIG products. There's some that I definitely don't like.
SIG P320.
But as far as how SIG did on this rifle here, it is absolutely above everything else. It is in a class of its own. This is the best quality, most reliable, most accurate AR-10 that you can get for the buck. It's the best bang for buck AR-10, hands down. Look at its track record, look at the reviews, look at all the parts, look what it comes with, and compare it to everything else. Nothing else quite stands up to the 716i tread, so I absolutely praise SIG on this gun. This thing is just going to outlive me, you, everyone watching. It's going to be so accurate, so reliable for you. I can't find any reviews about somebody who's had problems with these, anything at all like that. It just flat out seems like the best AR-10/DMR rifle you can buy for the money. So I 100% endorse this thing so far. I think now we're gonna throw on our scope here, throw on our iron sights, and then we're gonna go out to the range, put a few rounds through it, and see how it does.
Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Live it up, live it up, live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I on a roll. Switch it up, switch it up, switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly, just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar. All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. Give me that, give me that, give me that good reaction.
So now we'll just do a little accuracy test. So I have 2 cardboard targets set out at 100 yards exactly. You probably can't even see them out there. but we'll just kind of take a couple shots at them. Obviously, this isn't a gun vise. I am using a sleeping bag and a towel as my gun rest. You mad, bro?
Like a centerfold. Ooh, that's what you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion. Just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion. Loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar.
We'll load up one more magazine and dump them into the other target here, and then we'll go check our groupings and see what they look like. All right, so we did 10 shots on the target on the left, so now we'll just put in 5 shots for our target on the right and kind of see what the groupings look like.
Sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion. Just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion.
Well, let's go check them out. All right, so we retrieved our targets here. I'm shooting pieces of trash today because I forgot all my actual targets at home. So, sorry about that, guys. But anyways, as far as our grouping, so our first one here was that at 100 yards. Should be 10 shots, so I must have hit the same hole twice. You can see I kind of doubled up on that one at least. And then our other one with the 5 shots, that's maybe, it's about an inch grouping or so. And then our first one was about 2 inches there. It was sitting like this, so it was all very centered and lined up. But for just using a sleeping bag and a towel, I think that's pretty good.
Wanna waste our time in the moonlight. Got me up all night, got me up all night in the moonlight. Wanna waste our time in the moonlight. Got me up all night, got me up all night in the moonlight. You look so good, it hurts my soul. No, I can't deny the way you pull it.
Well, guys, that's probably gonna wrap up the video. I'm in love with that SIG 716i. That thing is just a workhorse. It's so reliable, and you probably saw most of the ammo that we shot today was this crappy Wolf steel case Russian 308. So probably the most unreliable, worst quality ammo you can buy, and it had 0 problems, 0 malfunctions. It just shot it perfectly, and you saw our groupings. Those were all with that Wolf Russian ammo. So at the very end, I put a couple of the Federal PowerShock 180 grain bullets through it, just because that's what I'm going to be shooting out of it primarily. I think they're kind of like an elk round, if I remember correct, but it powered through those no problem, as we'd expect it to. So yeah, SIG 716i tread, amazing. 10 out of 10. I'm telling you, I think that's the best AR-10 DMR you can buy right now. So if you can find one, go out and get yourselves one. You will not regret it. I promise you that. So like the video if this helped you out. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, have a great night, guys.
You like dancing in the moonlight.